A very good morning to all of you. So thank you for joining with us. So I warmly welcome all of you for the Curtin University virtual session for the 2022 July intake for the students coming into SIT International. My name is Sanuji Shanthkumara and I will be your host for the session today. So our session will begin with presentations from our Curtin guest speakers, followed by a question and answer session, which all of y'all can participate in. And you can get all your doubts clarified regarding the Curtin programs being offered here at Slate International. So just to give all of you all a brief background. So today we have students who are looking to join our July intake and who have already applied and registered for the intake and are waiting to start their journey at Curtin and SIT International from July onwards. So just to give you a brief idea for the students who are joining with us or hoping to join with us newly. So our applications for the July intake for our Curtin Computing and our engineering programs are still open, but we are closing up our applications soon. So all of y'all can join with us for the programs within this week. And you can visit our website, slitinternational.lk, for more information regarding the course structures, degree program details, entry requirements, and everything else. And we'll be providing you with information after the session as well. And during the Q&A session we are going to have, you can have a discussion with our expert panel here and get all your clarifications done. So the Curtin University degree programs can prepare you for a successful and rewarding career in science, engineering, and business fields, not only in Sri Lanka, but at a global scale or all around the world. So SLIT has had a 20-year-long partnership with the Curtin University, and we offer Curtin University degree programs in computing, engineering, and later on towards next year in business as well. So the students can now complete a full degree program here at Sri Lanka from SLIT International, or they can transfer over to any Curtin campus at any point of the degree program as well. So now I would like to welcome Associate Professor Cesar Sanchez of the Engineering Foundation Year Academic Lead from the Faculty of Science and Engineering of Curtin University to speak about our Curtin programs being offered here at SLIT International in Sri Lanka. So over to you, Professor Sanchez.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am going to try and share my PowerPoint. Let me see. Tell me if you can see my screen. Okay, let me just get rid of this. If I just go like that and I say I want to test to share. So you see my PowerPoint there, right?
Okay. We can see the screen. Yes.
Right click the slide. Now, are you seeing the
yes.
slide?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so it worked. You can hear me clearly, okay?
Yes,
perfect.
All clear.
Well, good morning, everyone in Sri Lanka. Good afternoon, people who are in Australia. My name is Cesar Ortega, and it's my pleasure and privilege to be here today to talk about engineering degrees in Sri Lanka.
Actually, can I?
Yes.
Even though we can see your slides, they are too small to be legible.
So are you, what about this? Is it better?
Yes, good.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, what do engineers do, right? Some of you have decided to go into engineering. Some of you are still undecisive or thinking about becoming engineers. And perhaps this question, what do engineers do, is important to answer, right? You need to know what we do as engineers, right? Personally, I'm a computer systems engineer, long time, I completed my degree. This is the definition from Engineers Australia, the accrediting body for engineering degrees in Australia, about what engineers do, right? And you can read it, or I can read it for you. The work of professional engineers involves the application of advanced skills in analysis and knowledge of science, engineering, technology, management, and social responsibility to problem solving and synthesis in new and existing fields. So that's the official sort of definition, right? However, I think we need to consider this more carefully, right? Yes, engineers solve problems, right? But what kinds of problems? So what my personal definition is engineers use science and technology to solve problems. That's what we do. But what kinds of problems, right? Engineering is about people. That's something you need to have very, very clear. We just don't solve problems for the sake of solving problems. We solve people's problems, right? Bridges, buildings, computers, techniques, systems, all have to do with people. And it's very global, right? It's very broad. So on one side, we could have people who live in very, very well-off lives. They have jobs, they have money, they have ambitions, and they have needs, right? They have problems. They want faster internet. They want electric cars that are efficient and cheap. They want to be able to communicate faster and quicker, etc. Right? They have their needs and problems, and we have engineers working on those problems as we speak. Right? They want to go to Mars and colonize other planets to save the human race. Right? So big important problems, and we have an army of engineers working with that. But there's other people, right? There's more people in the world. It's not just those who are well off and rich and ambitious. We have people still today who live in very precarious conditions, right? They lack the minimal welfare, I would say, well-being resources like running water, drinking water, sanitation, decent housing, education, health systems. So they lack of all this, right? And these are problems that engineers are solving too, particularly in these days when we have so much technology, so much resources, we can apply them. We engineers have to be creative, and we have to find efficient, economically viable, sustainable solutions to these problems, right? But there's people, remember, there's always someone with a face and a life who are relying on us to get their problems solved. Now, to give a framework to these kinds of problems, the UN came up with these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the infamous SDGs, right? You probably will hear about the 17 UN SDGs very frequently. And these are them, right? These are big picture, these are big problems, poverty, hunger, health, education, etc. We engineers have a big role to play in making these goals a reality, in solving and addressing and solving these challenges. So it's exciting because our work is important. Our work, the future of humanity, the comfort of humans in the future depends on us. So it's good that you're considering engineering, and it's good that you have decided to become an engineer, because you will be part of this of these solutions, and these are really big, important problems. So now you may be thinking on becoming an engineer because you are very good at maths and science, and your parents told you, or your teachers told you, oh, you're good at maths, you should become an engineer. You're good at physics, you should become an engineer. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you chances are you could become a good engineer if you know your maths and your physics. But engineering is so much more than that, right? Engineering, aside, on top of physics and maths, requires you to be, for example, a very good communicator. You need to be able to express, to communicate your ideas in different formats, orally, in a PowerPoint, in a poster, on a paper, on a book, very effectively to different audiences. So, and those are skills that need to be developed, right? You have no escape. You want to become an engineer, you will be working with people, for people, under people, over people. So you will have a boss, you will have people, subordinates that will you will be leading or managing, and you need to be very good at communicating with them, right? So nowadays, more than ever, engineering projects are multidisciplinary. So you will be working along with engineers from different disciplines, from professionals from different disciplines as well, doctors, athletes, I don't know, many different disciplines, and you should be able to communicate with them. So, and that's just one of the aspects, right? One of the skills that you need to have very, very good to become a good engineer, communication, on top of your maths and your science. That's always the technical knowledge, the content goes without saying, right? So whatever you like, whatever your strong points are, there's a place for you in engineering. If you are very creative, you like drawing, you like writing poetry, you could become a good designer, right? Inventing new things, you could do that. If you like to do hands-on activities, you're good with your hands, you can do very good maintenance manager, a maintenance engineer. You're very good at talking and negotiating, understanding people, and getting your way with people. You could become a very good negotiator. You can become a field engineer. You can become a salesperson, right? There's equipment. Think, for example, medical equipment, satellites. This equipment is so sophisticated that only an engineer can sell this kind of equipment, because only engineers understand the equipment and are able to communicate, again, communication, to people, what the equipment does and what the advantages and disadvantages of using the equipment would be, to sell it. If you're good at programming, you can become a programmer. Programming is one activity that, regardless of the discipline, civil engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, mechatronic engineer, you will probably be doing some coding in your professional life. And you can be a manager and even a politician, right? We had an engineer prime minister in Australia a couple of periods ago. So yeah, don't think of engineering as hard hats and steel cap boots and pouring concrete at 2 o'clock in the morning to build a bridge. Yes, some engineers do that, but not all engineers. There's a place for everyone, and whatever your skills are, as long as you like people and you like solving problems, you will be an excellent engineer. So at SLIIT, we're offering 4 different branches of engineering: civil and construction, electrical and electronic, mechanical and mechatronic. All of them are single degree programs that last for 4 years, 8 semesters, and all of them have good recognition and are recognized under Engineers Australia, and we have many years of experience delivering these programs. So if you are considering one of those, yeah, welcome, yeah, and congratulations. You are in good hands, and you are up for a very good start. Now, let me tell you about the journey. When you join Curtin to become an engineer, and notice how I use the word become a lot, because engineering is not something you do, it's something you become, right? It's not an activity, it's a personality. You will become an engineer, and as time passes, you will start thinking like an engineer, speaking like an engineer, solving problems like an engineer, working with people like an engineer, communicating like an engineer. And that's what makes you an engineer, right? That's when you will become an engineer. You won't become an engineer by passing units and collecting credits and getting a certificate that says that you're an engineer. That doesn't make you an engineer. That tells you that you are perhaps qualified to exercise the profession, but are you an engineer? You have to become one, right? So, and that's what we are very aware of, and we here at Curtin, we will try to make this journey of transformational journey of whoever you are today into the best possible engineer you can become, right? So we will help you with that. So think about that, right? Engineering is not something you do, it's something you become, and you're here to become the best possible engineer you can be. So let me tell you some features of our program. You probably know we are Curtin degrees, engineering degrees are recognized by Engineers Australia, and Engineers Australia is a signatory of the Washington Accord, which means that your degree in engineering will be recognized in the countries listed there, Sri Lanka included, of course, but you can work and you can have your recognition, your title, your degree recognized anywhere in these countries. So it's a good thing. We have a reputation at Curtin of being very hands-on. Almost every unit has a lab associated with it. And in labs is where you will play with toys, as I say. You know, you will use instruments, you will use equipment, machines, electronic equipment or devices to learn, to do activities facilitated by us, where you will be learning, applying the theory that you will listen in lectures into a hands-on activity and experience. At Sri Lanka, you have facilities that are exclusive for Curtin students. You know, SLIIT has its own infrastructure, but my understanding is that for people who are with Curtin, you have these facilities that are almost brand new. I understand that they are not more than a couple of years old at the most. Now, with the pandemic, probably they haven't been used a lot. So yeah, I could say they're still brand new. So these are exclusive for you if you decide to come to us. And this is how one way to look at the degree, you know, the 4 years of engineering. The first year is common, so all the disciplines, civil, mechanical, mechatronic, electrical, will do the same first year, identical first year. That gives the advantage that if you're still undecisive on which discipline you want to pursue, it's okay, because you have 1 more year to make up your mind. And during that year, you will be taking units that will tell you about electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and then that will help you make your mind. After year 1, you have to go and select a major, a discipline. And from year 2 onwards, you will be practicing and learning about that particular discipline. 200 credits per year, 100 credits per semester. We have units. I will show you the structure of the first year in a minute. And in the 4th year, you will be doing a final year project, right? It's individual, and it's a 1-year project, 2 project units in the last year, and you're expected to solve a problem like an engineer, right? It's your opportunity to demonstrate that you are ready, that you know, that you have learned how to solve problems like an engineer, and you will prove it by solving a problem and document it, communicate it. So that's the journey. Of course, at the end of this, you will graduate and you will get your certificate, but the learning never stops, right? We have this thing at Curtin that we are creating, we are transforming lifelong learners. You will be learning about engineering the rest of your life. And that's something nice, right? And it's important that you know it. 4 years are not enough to become the best possible engineer you can be. I completed my degree, I think 30 years ago, and I'm still learning, right? So I'm still in the journey of becoming the best possible engineer I can be. So you're in for a long run. Be mindful of that. This is the structure of the common first year in Sri Lanka. Is identical to what we do here in Australia or in Malaysia or in Dubai. We have 4 units per semester, 8 units in total. Every unit is 25 credits, so it's 100 credits per semester. We have units in maths, linear algebra and calculus. We have discipline units, mechanics, electrical systems, and resources, processes, and materials. We have a unit in programming. You will be learning Python language there, and the problem-solving skills associated. And we have a engineering foundations unit. This unit is perhaps the central, the core of all the common first year, is where you will be working in teams to solve a problem like an engineer. So you will be learning, you will be becoming an engineer by doing engineering, right? You will be solving problems in a team from day one with us. And that's in this unit. There's also a slot here for physics or chemistry if you didn't do that in high school. Right? I think most students in Sri Lanka do both in high school. But if you only did one, that's okay. You can do one unit in physics or chemistry in the first year. But if you did both, then there are options. There are units that are taken from probably other degrees in SLIIT. And you will take one of those to broaden your view, to broaden your knowledge. So if you want to know more about the units, about the structure of the degrees in the different majors, please visit the handbook, Curtin's handbook at www.handbook.curtin.edu.au. And you can search for your major, for the units, and you can see how the course is structured in the different disciplines. That's it, I think. If you need more information, well, there's a website that is available to you in Sri Lanka, the handbook. We have a future students page at Curtin. We have a scholarship page as well. You may be interested. There may be some scholarships available for international students that come to Perth to study. So I welcome you to Curtin, those of you who have decided to join us, and I encourage you to consider us seriously if you are still thinking about it, because becoming an engineer with Curtin, I think, is a very good investment, and you will always be well recognized in the world, and you will become the best possible engineer you can be. That's it. Thank you very much. And I'm ready to take questions now, if that's the protocol, or we can leave the questions after Hannes has spoken.
Yes, I think we'll leave the Q&A for the end when we can have everyone come up with all their queries. So thank you, Professor Sanchez, for giving all that information. So next, I would like to invite Dr. Hannes Herman, Director, Learning and Teaching at Curtin School of Electrical Engineering, Computing and Mathematical Sciences, to speak about the Curtin University computing programs being offered here at Sri Lanka through SWIT International. So, Dr. Hannes, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's always interesting following on from Cesar, because he talks so passionately about becoming an engineer, and I had to stand in for him last time and I just couldn't do the same job he does. The approach for computing is actually very different. Engineers have to have a very broad basis and have a lot of skills that they pull together. What we do in computing is a lot more focused. Essentially, what we do is we teach you how to code. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's really the essential. So let me go through some of the highlights. As with engineering, we are very strongly aligned with industry. That's something that's true of fairly much all of Curtin. We send a lot of students for work placement in industry or to do real projects. We have experts coming in to deliver classes for us. Now, if I have a world-leading expert in software development coming and giving a class to our students at Bentley, that is live streamed to all the students at all the locations that wish to watch it. And of course, it's also recorded for later viewing. And of course, students can then ask online. So that interaction with industry not only develops the courses, but it also gives quite a lot of different opportunities. Obviously, I'm talking here more about the West Australian industry, but each campus is developing links with their local industry as well. So talk to the SLIIT campus about where they're standing with their industries. The whole point is that the whole degree is very much grounded in what the industry wants from our graduates, rather than being something that academics think might be nice. The other thing that we really love about computing is that we do actually, we're a fairly close-knit bunch, basically. The staff at each location work very well together, and we work quite well across campuses. share a lot of things, whether it's research relationships or other things. Also, at Bentley, we have a very strong student organization, and I believe a similar organization or similar links are building in Sri Lanka. Those relationships with the other students are actually really, really important. And of course, we go back again to the links with industry and what that effect has on the courses that we are delivering. Because, in the end, you want to make sure your courses are okay. So we do have a range of partnerships with global industries. We have students at Microsoft. We send interns to Google, to Facebook. One young lady, in fact, managed to get internships at all three companies, one after the other. But that's a bit of an exception. Most students have, a bit more limits. Again, the real difficulty with computing, as with engineering, is the balance between theory and practice. If you only do practice, you end up being very, very job ready. You're good to go as soon as you graduate, but you don't have that lifelong learning that Cesar was talking about. You need to have enough theory that you understand the concepts behind what's going on, so that you can keep improving yourself as you go. Obviously, computing is a very fast-changing field. So we do that in quite a few different ways. We're mixing up assessments. You won't get too many pen and paper exams in computing. You'll get a lot of projects to take home and work on overnight, or practical assessments or things like that. By the way, this does mention a range of 3 or 4 year bachelor's degrees in Sri Lanka, and I'll get to your degrees in a moment. You're offering our Bachelor of Computing and Bachelor of IT, which are 3-year degrees. However, I do recognize that there's a lot of people that want to do a 4th year. So we do have an honors year for students who want to turn it into a 4-year degree. That honors year is not currently offered at Sri Lanka, but if there's enough calling for it, that could certainly be discussed. Otherwise, students could finish a 3-year degree in Sri Lanka and come and do the honors year at Bentley or at any other campus that offers it. We're currently in negotiations with Mauritius, for example, to offer an honors year. Wherever you go, whichever of our campuses you visit, you will have purpose-built facilities to make your life easier. Computing is hard, and you want to make sure that you get all the help you can. Sri Lanka in particular have been working with us for quite a long time, and their program is very successful. Sri Lanka is probably our best networking-based campus. So that really benefits the Bachelor of IT, which is very networking based. And you have a lot of specialists there who work in that area, do research in that area, and are internationally known in that area. But still, the course you do, whether it's the engineering or whether it's the computing, it's not a Curtin Sri Lanka course. It's not a SLIT course. It's a Curtin course. So when you get your testimonial, it ends up being a degree from Curtin University. We don't mention where you studied it because our courses are the same across all of the campuses. Now, that may be a bit of localization. You might find that your local staff members are giving examples that are more relevant to you in Sri Lanka. But the point is, what you learn is the same. The assessments you sit are basically the same. You are held to the same standards. And in fact, the Australian Computer Society has praised us highly for the level at which we keep the equivalence between our mother campus and all the other campuses. And that can be quite challenging. So it is a very strong degree. It's internationally recognized, and it's a Curtin degree if you're doing it in Sri Lanka or wherever else. And as with engineering, if you want to go and do a year in Mauritius or in Malaysia, or if you want to catch up and do a couple of trimesters in Singapore or Dubai, as long as the course you're doing is offered in that location, no problem. So, doing a year or two in Sri Lanka and coming to Perth or wherever else you want, that is fine too. If you're doing a Bachelor of Computing Software Engineering in one location, that will be the same course as in any other location that offers that course. So we try to make it as equitable as possible. Let me talk specifically about those courses. We do have rather a wide range of courses, including postgraduate offerings. So if you want to do a master's in something appropriate, that's great. And if you want to go and do, say, an undergraduate degree and then come and do a master's at Bentley, that works as well. But for now, this talk is about the offerings at SLIIT. So let me talk specifically about those. So that's the Bachelor of Information Technology, which I referenced earlier, and the Bachelor of Computing. The Bachelor of Computing has 3 majors: software engineering, computer science, and cybersecurity, but we'll only talk about the 2 that are offered in SLIIT. If you have interest in other things, Curtin's website has a lot of information, and I've included my email at the beginning and it's again at the end if you want to ask me questions. So let's start by talking about the Bachelor of Information Technology. As I mentioned, this is one of SLIIT's strengths because it's networking related. The computing courses that we have, whether it's the BIT or the Bachelor of Computing, they are all very much focused on coding. Coding not just to solve a problem, but to solve a problem to industry specifications. In industry, you can't just throw out some code and make sure it works. You need to be able to code in such a way that your code can be worked on by multiple different people at the same time, is easily maintainable, is easily debuggable. It's a whole new skill set. So even if you know how to code, our coding will try to take you to the next level. Having said all that, out of those courses, the Bachelor of IT is somewhat more generalist than the Bachelor of Computing. What you will notice is that there are 4 elective slots in the 2nd and 3rd year. Those 4 elective slots allow you to take a minor in something or just to pick up units that you are interested in, depending on what is available at the campus you're studying. We have a mostly common first year. It's not quite like engineering where everything is the same. In the Bachelor of IT, you would start off learning Python because that's a very well-known language that's also relatively easy to work in, and you do a bit of computer systems and networking. Then you go on to do a relatively broad series of units in fairly much everyone needs to know about operating systems and communication, but still looking more about the details of Linux computers, networks, and then the more advanced things such as management and computer communications. The Bachelor of IT is really designed for more general purposes. You can specialize using those electives, but it gives you a lot more flexibility. You will learn Python and C, which is enough to pick up other languages. You learn a lot about coding across networks. And of course, you learn a lot about Unix systems programming and server hardening. By the way, we do insist on students using Linux for fairly much everything, except where there's specific things about Windows, say for Windows servers to learn about, because learning Windows has its own challenges, but Linux is really, really important when you're talking about the backbone of the computing industry. There are many students who've gone ahead and gotten very good jobs just because they were skilled at Linux and their competitors weren't, essentially. It can be a bit more annoying in places, and you probably have Windows on your own computer, but it is very important for your future career. So it is a general degree. It is a little less focused on programming. It's intermediate programming, but it is still a coding degree, and you'll come out as a good coder with a good general skill set. It's really good for people who want to go into a maybe not this huge company, but a company that will require you to have additional skills. It's also, because you're using Python, a little bit easier. If you look at the Bachelor of Computing, You again have this common first year, which looks fairly much the same. The major unit is different. It was computer systems with BRT. This is now requirements engineering for software engineering. And the very first unit is different. The first unit now is using Java. Java is the #1 sought after programming language by employers, but it is very finicky and it's a bit more of a challenge to work with. So in this case, you're being thrown in the deep end. You're going to go directly to Java development and other things follow on. Some of these will look different. Some of these, for example, object-oriented software engineering. Now you're starting to talk about design patterns, which is, the real meat of programming. You will do a bit of cybersecurity and you'll go ahead and have only 3 electives, but you do still have your capstone project, just like the Bachelor of IT. What does software engineering give you? It gives you somewhat more advanced programming. It's our probably data and computer science are our most advanced programming courses. You learn Java, you learn C. Those two give you a good chance to learn pretty much any other language. You learn all the things you need to be a really good programmer: design patterns, object orientation, how to deal with clients and illicit requirements. You also learn a little bit about data and software security, because as a coder, you are a big vulnerability to a company. You need to make sure that you know how to do things properly. Lastly, I'll talk about the Bachelor of Computing Cybersecurity, which is a bit newer at your campus. You'll see the same pattern as with software engineering, although now you have a cyber unit at the end of first year. You have a lot of the same units, but you don't have some of the heavier programming units. You do have some artificial intelligence because, if you're not using artificial intelligence in a few years' time in a cyber domain, that will be running a bit late. You have penetration testing, you have incident handling, you have server hardening, you have all the sort of things you'd expect in a cyber degree, but you also have a core of programming that is even more than the Bachelor of IT. So the difference between our cybersecurity course and many others is that you come out still being able to get a job as a coder. That's really important because everyone, especially people who've watched various shows on Netflix, want to immediately go and be a penetration tester or whatever. Those are high responsibility jobs and many companies want you to have worked in the industry first. So the idea here is you can go and be the security specialist on a team. You'd have all the background knowledge. You do know about penetration testing, defense, the red team, blue team, but you have a way in other than the front door. You can go and work with a company, build up your cred, and then move to something that you're more interested in, having built up that maturity as part of your job. And that is really important. And the other thing is, we don't focus as much on tool use. Cybersecurity involves doing a lot of tool use for testing. We certainly cover some of that. You can't do penetration testing, for example, without using a few advanced tools, mainly built into Kali Linux. But a lot of those tools, frankly, you can learn. Again, it's the balance between theory and practice. What we set you up to do is we put you in a position where you can write those tools yourself in the future, which is really, really important. So that's a brief run through the 3 courses we're offering there. And the outcomes really speak for themselves. I'm doing another version of this survey this year, but the last time I ran it, just before COVID, obviously I didn't run through COVID, basically I asked my capstone students in May, so these are the students graduating at the end of 2019, how many of you already have jobs? And I had about 92% of the students that were actually looking for jobs. There's a few that say, no, look, I'm not looking for a job because I'm not going to graduate at the end of the year, or because I want to take a gap year, or whatever reason, right? Of those students who were wanting jobs, which is most of them, 92% already had a job that was lined up. So they had been offered a job and that signed off. Incidentally, one of the ones that didn't have a job lined up because they'd had 3 offered to them they hadn't decided yet. But still, 92% had agreement on that. Of those students, about 40% were offshore students. And in fact, almost all of those were from SLIT. So the outcomes apply not just in Australia, but in other places. And we really do change people's lives. It's a very hard course, don't get me wrong. You do have to work very hard to get through our computing course, but the outcome is worthwhile. Here's some quotes from the capstone unit. I would have liked to talk more about that, but I'm running out of time, unfortunately. The point being that you will do full stack development, you will use Git, and you will learn how to merge your code, all those sort of things that you normally only do after you get a job. And that's one of the things that makes our graduates so valuable. They have the theoretical background to keep learning, but they also have the hands-on skills that are needed to get right on with the job. So that's a brief rundown from me. Thank you very much. And I will look forward to questions when they come.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hannes. Right. So before we move on to our next section of the session, just to give some brief information regarding our July intake, which is currently open. So all students who are coming in for our July 2022 intake, they will receive 25% scholarship for their first year of study if you enroll for the engineering or the IT programs conducted by the Curtin University at City International. So as mentioned before, our applications are still open. So you may join in with pending A-level results or with your A-level results if your entry requirements are met. Students who are coming in with pending A-level results, you all have certain options in case you all don't meet your entry requirements. So if entry requirements are met, not an issue at all, you all will be progressing as normal. If in case you don't meet your entry requirements, you all have options such as transferring over to our Curtin Foundation at Slate Academy and completing it to rejoin the degree, or you may complete one semester and hold the program and come back after you have gotten your minimum entry requirements met, or if you prefer, you may decide to withdraw from the course as well. So we'll be providing some more clarifications going further into the session also. So now, today we have with us Ms. Chatri Vijayanayaka from City International, Assistant Manager for Student Engagement and Alumni Relations. She's going to give us some information regarding the student life here at City International at our new Navamaltha campus. So Chatri, over to you.
Thank you, Sanaji. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So I think the pictures shown before actually gave you a good idea about the fun that we have on campus. So let me share the screen. Sanaji, please let me know when you see.
Yeah, you can, screen is shared. All good.
Oops, sorry. Right. Okay. So as Sanaji mentioned, I'm the Assistant Manager for Student Engagement and Alumni Relations at Slate International. Most of the students call me Miss Chari because my name is kind of hard to pronounce, I guess. So anyway, just a briefing about the student life on campus. So the opportunities of students on campus. So we have, starting off with the Student Guild. We have our student guild is called the Slate International Student Guild, and they like to be called as SISG. And so they are actually representing the student body. And we have 6 executive committee members, and the picture on the top actually is a picture of some of the members. And then you can see it was taken during whole event. So that's why we all drenched in colorful water. So just to show that how much fun we have, because they definitely organize different events and workshops for students. So that's actually the student guild, and every student has an opportunity to join the guild. I mean, it's the students elect the executive committee actually. And then we have the batch representative. So each degree program has a batch representative. So it's like you represent your batch. So you're like in between the academic and administration and plus your batchmate. So whatever the communication we need to give to the batch, so we contact you first, and then if you have any questions from your students that you need to tell us, so you're the person who will actually contact the administration and the academics. So Curtin University actually have a Curtin Extra program, and so these two programs is actually recognized by the Curtin Extra program in Curtin University. So the student guild and the batch representatives get an extra certificate at the graduation. It's kind of like proof of your leadership skills that you have done a leadership role in the university. So which will be very useful for you when you join the industry. So talking about sports, we, as you know, we are a campus in the city, so we don't have sports inside the campus, but we have outsourced all the sports facilities around campus. So currently we have cricket, basketball, futsal, swimming, badminton, table tennis, and the gym facilities. So also you can access all the facilities in the Mala Bay campus as well. So these are the current sports teams that the students wanted. So if you join and if you want to create new sports teams, still you have the opportunity to do so if you have enough team members. So that's a good thing about, like, we just started new, so that opportunity is still there. And same goes to clubs and societies. The current students actually came up with the clubs, debate club, engineering club, gaming club, music club, drama club, and dancing club. And I think we have an anime club too. So definitely, I mean, even when you join, if you need to create a new club, you can contact the 6G and myself, and then we'll make the arrangements. And talking about industry relations, we have a very close relationship with the industry. So we arrange different workshops, training programs, and also like internship opportunities are given to our students here. That's talking about industry relations. And alumni relations, we have a very strong alumni here, Curtin alumni here and also in Australia. So we have members here and abroad as well. So they're very active. They actually work very closely with the current students. We have regular fireside chats, and then we had the barbecue night, which was really nice, and they organized a graduation ball. So they definitely try to keep very good relations with our current students. And apart from these, we have a well-being session every week for the students. I know like studies can get like kind of stressful. So each week we have a well-being session. So there you get a chance to relax yourself, learn something new. So it's open to all the students. So whoever wants to join that session, you can. And then we have a English help desk. Like help for all your assignments and different things that you need help for. And then also something similar to UniPass, like I know Curtin University also has UniPass. So we have something similar like that. We call it the UniPass also. But our senior students kind of help out the current students, the junior students with their work, day-to-day work or assignments or things like that. So those are like some of the opportunities you have here at Slit International. And these are some of the events actually conducted during COVID. Some of it we had to conduct online. So the first physical one was Class Alba, the Christmas carols, and the rest followed actually on campus: Holy Festival, Food Festival, Auridu, Barbecue Night, and more to come. We have a talent show, a Comic-Con, Precious Day, and we have lead sessions, like different workshops arranged for students. So there's more to come, and when you join, you can actually organize more, I think. So these are like some of the pictures that were shown before. So some are online, just to give you an idea. We had the Hajj festival. They did a CSR project where they distributed dry rations to people. And then we had the futsal tournament. So yeah, these are some of the pictures again, just to give you an idea. Yeah, so thank you, and I'm looking forward to have you all on campus, and I'll be very close with you all when you join us. So looking forward to seeing you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Sari, for that nice presentation and giving us all that information. So everyone, we are open for our Q&A session now. So you may unmute your mic and give us your questions, or you may ask us your questions using the chat box also. So the questions and queries regarding the academic side of the degree programs will be answered by our expert panel, and any questions regarding the admission process will be answered by our Slate International admissions team. So any issues you all have, you all can come up with them now.
It seems like we were very effective.
Yeah.
There's a question for me.
Yes, tell.
There's a module called Computer Systems and Networking mentioned in the brochure. Isn't it available in SLIIT now?
It is available. It is being offered at Slate International for the July intake. If you have your entry requirements, you can join the degree program for Computer Systems and Networking also.
Okay, it wasn't mentioned in the presentation. That's why I asked.
It's mentioned in our website also. You can go ahead and get some further details of the degree program from our website. And we have another question as to whether we can follow software engineering after O-levels. Yes, you may join the Curtin Foundation after you have completed O-levels, and once you have completed your foundation, you can directly join the Curtin degree programs at Slate International.
Can I ask a question? Dr. Johans mentioned about completing 3 years, and he also mentioned about a 4th year in Curtin. After completing the 4th year, my question is it possible to complete 3 years here in Sri Lanka and then 4th year in Curtin? And then after completion of the 4th year, is it going to be still BSc or bachelor's, or is it MSc equivalent after the 4th year?
That's a very interesting question. The first part I can answer easily. Yes, you can come and do the 4th year at Perth or in any other place we're offering the 4th year. it's at that point it becomes effectively a BSc with honours. So normally the Bachelor of Computing is roughly equivalent to a BSc, so 3-year degree in Australian terms. But the fourth year adds the with honours part.
Right. Further to my question, I believe in the fourth year, student gets an opportunity to specialize, further specialized in some specific areas. Am I right?
That is correct, yes. And that will depend on what units are available for you. Normally, you have a supervisor, and the largest part of your fourth year is actually a project. And you will then normally take units that will agree with that project and help you carrying that forward. One of the units will be a basic research methodologies unit, but another unit might be, say, supercomputing or artificial intelligence or whatever you need to take you forward to a successful completion of that project.
Yeah, I think your website mentions the annual tuition fee as $34,900, I believe. The current rate, it may change, I understand that. But as for the current rate, is it the same, 34,900 for the fourth year? Is it different, the fourth year?
I can't answer that one, unfortunately. Over to any of our admin staff know?
I think this is being referred to for the final year over there at Perth. Is it?
Well,
Yes, the website mentions
The final year course.
34,900 per year.
Right. Mr. Kenneth, if you could give any clarification, if possible, on this.
I believe that's sorry, go on, Kenneth.
Yeah, Dr. Hans. Yeah, the fees for IT per year is about $32,700 at present.
Including the fourth year. The same rate applies for the fourth year.
Per year, yes.
Okay, any year, right? First to fourth. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, my question also to Dr. Johans. This fourth year computing course, is it possible to get that? What are the specializing area that the student can follow in Curtin at Perth?
Because you're doing most of it as a research topic, there's a fairly broad range of topics you can work on. So, for example, you could decide you want to specialize in software, mobility software that does location tracking, say. You can move towards an area other than your primary area, so you could move more towards cybersecurity or the like. The big limit is that you do have to find somebody who has the appropriate skills to supervise you. So we have quite a few experts in artificial intelligence. We have experts in software engineering and in networking. But if you're doing something very specific, let's say you wanted to move towards data science or computer-based health, then you'd normally be given a co-supervisor with expertise in that area.
Okay. So, fourth year course, is it possible to do only in Perth, or is any other countries that students can go and follow that, maybe in Malaysia or any other country?
At the moment, we are only offering that in Perth.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, we are currently talking with the Mauritius campus about offering the honours year, particularly for the Bachelor of IT, but the honours is fairly generic across it. By the time you graduate your course, I can't tell you whether we would have that at SLIAT yet. If there is strong interest, I would be recommending that it at least be considered. But unfortunately, I can't really look into the future. All I can say is at the moment, we can offer it in Perth, and that's really all I can say for now.
One more question to ask that actually I heard that maybe for the engineering courses after 4 years, there is opportunity that they can work 1.5 years in Australia. That they give the visas for the work visa, I think, for 1.5 years. How about that computing? I heard that facility is not there. So even after fourth year degree also, that facility is not allowed.
I can't answer that one.
I think we can get Mr. Kenneth on this one as well. Mr. Kenneth?
Yes, so the normal requirement is for IT, if you study in the current arrangements are, if you study in Australia for 2 years, you're eligible for a 2-year post-study work visa. So that is the arrangement that is available right now, even whether it's IT or engineering, the same applies. So if you have studied in Australia for 2 years of minimum, you'll be eligible for a 2 to 3 year post-study work visa. So that's the arrangement that is available right now.
Okay. But I heard that even last year also that who followed, not last year, maybe 2 years ago also, who followed the engineering course in at Slate, so they got work visa. I think they followed full time at Slate. Then after completing their degree, they had the opportunity to work in Australia.
There are different visa categories. So the visa category that I was talking about is as a student. If you complete the program in Sri Lanka 4 years,
Yeah.
there are different visa categories to which you can apply for. But I think you'll need to get some advice from an immigration lawyer on that, because there are different visa categories, and these categories are subject to change annually. So I don't know what will happen in 4 years' time or in 3 years' time. We don't know what are the Australian government visa categories are going to be. So unfortunately, I'll not be able to answer that question at this moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. So we have a few questions about the application closing date. So for the July intake, you can apply up until next Monday. We will be keeping our applications open until then. So you may apply with your A-level results or your pending A-level results or your other entry requirements for the July intake for the IT and engineering degree programs. We will share our registration links. And you can contact us through the hotline or through our email, and you can register for the program up until next Monday.
So, Miss, when is the orientation program start?
We will be providing information regarding the orientation program. It will be commencing on the 18th. So everyone will get further information on the orientation program once you have registered for our degree programs.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question to Dr. Johans. I'm sorry, Doctor, for loading you with so many questions. I questioned about 3+1, 3 here in Colombo and 1 the fourth year in Perth. Is it also possible 2+2, first and second years in Colombo, third and fourth years in Perth?
Absolutely.
Software engineering.
Yes, totally. Because all of the courses are offered at Bentley, you can do as much in Bentley and as much in Sri Lanka as you want. You can do 1+3, you can do 2+2, 3+1, entirely up to you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
In terms of the scholarship programs we have available, so as mentioned, all the students who are joining in for our July intake this time, you all be able to benefit from a 25% scholarship for your first year of study. So your first and second semesters in your first year, you will be getting a 25% fee concession once you enroll for our programs. So I have a question about the lecture panel. So just to give you some idea regarding the lecture panel, Vihan. So we have our local lecturers here from Slate International and Slate who will be conducting your lectures here physically at our Nawama campus. And in addition, you have access to the online lectures being conducted at Perth. So you have extremely qualified set of lecturers from both Slate International as well as Curtin who will be able to provide you all the information needed throughout your degree program study.
Can I pay the entire course fee at once? Does it have to be paid in Australian dollars or the same value as the Australian dollar?
Regarding the fees, so your fees will be divided into two components every semester, a part payment in Australian dollars to Curtin and a part payment in LKR to SLIT International. So this is how the payment arrangement will be for the entire 3 or 4 years of your duration of the course.
Thank you.
Right, so I think we have one more. Chari, I think you may be able to help us on this. For extracurricular, do we have access to Malawi or do we have all of them provided at Colombo?
No, you have both the accesses. You can actually, all the extracurricular activities happen at Sleet International. You can participate in the activities at Malawi too. There's no restriction.
Right, and another question is, if we were to complete our degree in Perth and we do our masters too, do we have to, maybe Dr. Hannes could help us with this. If we were to complete our degree in Perth and we want to do our masters too, do we have to immediately follow up with the masters or can we choose to do it? I think
it depends on the entry requirement of the masters. In general, as long as you haven't spent too much time away doing something unrelated, that's fine. If you do a computing degree, you go and work in the computing field, then you can come back and do a computing masters anytime, because you're just increasing those skills. If you wanted to do an unrelated master's, you might be asked to come back and refresh something, but in general, you can do it when you want. Note also that we have specific masters for people who have been in business for a while, and normally they get some credit in the longer master's degrees as well.
right. So examinations are, we have questions of examinations. Examinations, we have various methods of assessment, I believe. It could be final exams, vivas, so it depends on the modules and the course you are following, I believe. And we have a question about work placement in final year for software engineering students.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. That goes to the capstone units I didn't get to talk about. It depends on what your campus has found for you at that time. So what we normally do is make sure that every student is doing a real project. So that means you have a real client that you're working within a team, solving that real problem. You may not be placed in industry. So no, not every student is given work placement, but you are working using full stack development, going through the whole process under supervision. Some students may have placement, some students don't. At Bentley, it's about 50-50. At other campuses, it varies quite a lot. So, and again, looking forward to when you are completing, I don't know what that ratio will be at SLIT, but you will be using the same skills in any case.
Right, thank you so much. So I think we can wind up our session for today. So just to give you a brief recap again, you can call us on our hotline or send us an email to get some more further information. So like we mentioned, you can join the July intake up until next Monday, and you can start your programs here and you can complete and graduate as a Curtin graduate, or you can even transfer, like mentioned, to any Curtin campus and graduate as a globally recognized undergraduate student. So I would like to thank Dr. Hannes and Professor Sanchez from Curtin University for joining with us today and giving us all the information for our students to make a very informed decision. And Ms. Chatri also, thank you very much for joining with us, and for all the staff members from Curtin as well as Sleet International. Thank you for joining with us and making this session a wonderful success. So students, any other questions or queries, you can contact us through our hotline or through our email, or if you are able to, you can visit us at our campus as well. So hoping to see you join the Curtin programs during our July intake. And thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful day and stay safe, everyone.